Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I'm going to give you guys a chance to come into the conversation as we get ready for a really important discussion in our community. This is a discussion about education, the value of education, which I hope we can all agree that education matters. But then, there's a debate about college. There's a debate about whether or not college is the best option for our people in this day and age. There's a question about whether or not it's going to get us what we want, whether or not it's actually sending Black wealth backward instead of forward. And to talk about this, I wanted to bring in my good brother, my very good friend, Mr. Jullien Gordon. Jullien is the author of a new book. The new book is very good title. It's the Undergrad Railroad.
Yes, that is correct. Undergrad Railroad. Yes.
And somebody type in the title of that book so everybody can see the title, The Undergrad Railroad. So first off, before I begin, I'm going to ask my brother Jullien, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm glad to be here and share this as students are getting ready to graduate from high school and go into college, or they're in college and are transitioning this summer and thinking about, like, is this thing really serving me?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here, man. I know how smart you are, and I know that you are a college graduate. You went to Stanford and also UCLA, and so you know all about the system. I have my experience, teaching college students for a long time and everything else, and there's a lot to talk about. Now, before we begin, I want everybody in here to welcome to our tribe of intelligent Black people. So I'm glad that you guys are here. If you are Black and you are intelligent, then this is the place for you. If you are not Black or you are not intelligent, then we may offend you. So you may want to go ahead and tell everybody you can. And so do me a favor. I see Lamarcus says first. He's the first one here. Clifford and Dwayne. AP says great topic. G Giddy TV. He says woke London in the building. That's what's up. London's always here. London's always here, Jullien. I kid you not.
Yes.
So before we get started, everybody, but after you hit the thumbs up button, everybody hit that thumbs up button. Please do that. I want you to say, do your shout out. Let's do our daily shout out. Shout out your city, your business, or your dream. Your city, your business, or your dream. You can shout out all three, one of the three, two of the three. It's totally up to you. Hey, Keena, how are you? Hey, Coach Danita, good to see you. Jeff Manning, Jiggy Steve says Jersey showing love. Donna says, stop saying stuff like that, Dr. W. What, you mean like get the hell out? I used to say they could get the fuck out, but I'm trying to tone it down. I'm trying not to cuss so much. Some of y'all get mad when I stop cussing. Some of y'all get mad when I cuss more. Let me see here. Roderick says, hello, everyone. Victor, this class was a class subject once in college. Okay. Donna from Tampa. Lawrence Bowman, I see you in here. Mark Sims, Tina Jackson, Mariana Collier, Roland from Detroit, Perry from Virginia Beach, Mosali from Mali. Okay, I think Mosali might win for the furthest distance away. Champ Nichols, how you doing, brother? He's a smart Black man. Sinclair from Dallas. Donna, how you doing, Donna? I already said hi to Donna. Chill Vision from Stockton, California. I see Indianapolis, Atlanta, Houston. Houston's where we're having the All Black National Convention this year. So be ready for that. I'll make the announcements very, very soon. I see Palm Beach, Hawaii. Nice. I'm jealous of you. All right. So so we've done our shout outs. We're all here. We're ready to learn. We're ready to talk. So Jullien, let's get it cracking. Okay.
Yes.
So your book. Okay, your book. Now I want to tell everybody, I know Jullien because Jullien is a bona fide genius. He is one of the best, most talented. I would almost say, I want to say the word sales people, but that really only narrowly defines the range of talents that he has. But I think sales comes to mind first because selling is actually one of the most important skills that you can have. A person that knows how to sell, I believe, will always have a good income. So Jullien is very, very good at that. And there's other things he's great at as well. So Jullien, this book, The Undergrad Railroad, tell us about the book.
Yeah, so basically, I've been speaking at colleges for the past 10 years. Obviously, I went to UCLA. I graduated from UCLA in 3 years. Not proud to say that after the experience that you had last year with UCLA. But we know that these institutions, these PWIs that we've been participating in and sometimes excited to get into actually aren't really built for us. And so I went to UCLA, graduated in 3 years because I already saw the trap that was unfolding. Then I went to business school at Stanford. I do believe that MBA is probably the most valuable graduate degree that you can get because business is just the language of the world. And so that's been my educational background. But stepping into entrepreneurship, I started as a speaker, and I've spoke at over 100 colleges and reached the lives of 50,000 college students. And There are about 4,000 colleges out there. Most people don't know that, but I came to the realization that most of these colleges actually do not care about their students' ultimate success. They don't. They don't. And as we know that the cost of college has risen faster than absolutely anything, inflation, healthcare, all of that. And colleges have branded themselves as these institutions of higher education, but at the same time, they're putting generations in extreme debt. The cost of college is rising drastically, but there's actually no improvement in the education. They're still teaching liberal arts education when they should be, in fact, teaching liberation arts education. Liberal arts education will cost you, but liberation arts education will free you. They still don't teach financial literacy. They still don't teach sales. They still don't teach digital marketing. Like I was looking at one college's course syllabi, and they have textile marketing, right? Now, textile marketing is still relevant because we all still wear clothes, right? But to have textile marketing without having digital marketing means that this college's curriculum is out of date. We know that the entire market is going online. And so these institutions aren't able to evolve quick enough to prepare our young people for the real world. And that's Black, brown, white, Asian, it doesn't matter, right? But in particular for Black college students, everybody thinks that, you know, I always see these articles about the terrible high school graduation rate. But the reality is that the high school graduation rate isn't that bad in comparison to colleges. The 6-year college graduation rate nationally for all students is only 60%. It's only 60%. For Hispanic students, it's 54%. And for Black students, it's 41%. That's the national 6-year. First and foremost, it's an issue that we're talking about 6-year graduation rates, right? We should be graduating students in 4 years. But in fact, these 4-year institutions are not really 4-year institutions anymore, because they know that if they keep you for a 5th year or 6th year, they're getting 25 to 50% more in revenue off of you, right? And so one, 6-year graduation rate is not our goal. We want to get out in 4. I got out in 3, but on top of that, they're not even graduating students of color. So they're admitting them, but they're not graduating them.
Wow, wow. Everybody, talking to Jullien Gordon, and we're talking about his new book, The Undergrad Railroad. And we're talking about whether or not college is actually worth it. Is college something that our people should do? Are they is it benefiting the community or not? Now, we touched on these discussions before. Many of you know I've been real concerned about what's going on with student loan debt. Some of you, raise your hand if you were there, came to the lecture I did on the long-term Black economic and educational excellence package that I wanted you to do for your children. And that was a package that was broader than just college. It was one where you could go to college, but I actually want to put a warning sticker on college. You know, college is one of those where it's sort of, you know, pursue at your own economic risk, because college is screwing at least half, I would dare to say half of all the people that attend. You know, out of that half, you got a very large percentage of people that do not graduate at all, but they still got the debt. I can name several people who have $50,000 or more in student loan debt who do not have a college degree. You know, and then on top of that, you know, if you get the degree, a lot of times you're stuck with these skills that don't help you really accomplish anything. You know, like it's almost like we're led to believe that there's some sort of magical thing that happens when you go to school and you do what you're told for 4 years, and then they give you this piece of paper, and this piece of paper means that business owners are supposed to go hire you just because you have that piece of paper. And you're a business owner, I'm a business owner, and I assume you can agree with me when I say that I don't care. I don't really care if you got that paper or not. That paper means nothing to me. What matters to me is, can you help us solve important problems in our business? And sometimes there's a negative correlation, meaning there is a negative relationship between whether you have the paper and whether you can actually solve the problem. Because, you know, because you've been in this sort of coddled world where all the real world problems disappear and everything's replaced by a textbook. What are your thoughts on that in terms of, you know, the types of skills that college students are coming out of school with?
Yeah, well, a lot of colleges are claiming that they teach critical thinking. Okay, critical thinking is a valuable skill and it's essential for problem solving. But if you're teaching critical thinking, how are you measuring it? A GPA doesn't measure critical thinking, right? So if that's really what you're going to rest your laurels on and say, this is the skill set that we teach, right? Then at least be measuring it, because how do we actually know that one college is actually increasing the critical thinking skills of an individual versus another? And so this is, again, why I teach liberation arts education versus liberal arts education. And when we talk about liberation arts, these are the skills that are required to not just get a good job, but to actually thrive, succeed, and succeed in life, right? And for some reason, these institutions of higher education aren't teaching these core life skills that are essential. There's no courses on emotional intelligence. There's no courses on financial literacy. There's no courses on health and diet unless you're going into the medical route, right? There's no courses. There's no courses on digital marketing or selling oneself or personal branding, right? These are all the things that you have to kind of explore and discover outside of the classroom. So the question is, what are you actually learning inside the classroom that's anywhere relevant to the life that you're about to create? If you stop most graduates on stage on graduation day and say, can you please lecture on whatever you're majoring in for 1 hour, most couldn't do it. So you're telling me you studied something for 4 years and you can't even speak about it powerfully for 1 hour? That means that honestly, you spend a lot of time learning something that you already knew was not useful. But it's not just me, Dr. Watkins. Major corporations are actually bypassing the college degree. Some corporations like GE actually have their own internal universities. And if this continues to happen, then ultimately they're going to bypass the university and actually go straight to getting high school students. But in 2016, Ernst & Young actually decided that it was going to remove degree classification from entry criteria as there's no evidence university equals success. This is Ernst & Young, a big 5 accounting firm, saying, you know what? College, we're getting these college graduates. We have to retrain them from scratch anyways. So what is college really doing? We'd rather accept an applicant who doesn't have this stress of the debt and actually train them up in our methodology in terms of how we account. But this is not just Ernst & Young. Google, Apple, Penguin Random House, Costco, Whole Foods, Hilton, Publix, Starbucks, Nordstrom, Home Depot, IBM, Bank of America, Chipotle, Lowe's are all moving in this direction. And the moment that 250 Fortune 500 companies say, you know what, we don't even need the colleges anymore, we're just going to go identify the talent ourselves rather than letting the colleges identify the talent, then this whole thing is going to flip and you're going to see a lot of these brick and mortar colleges start to crumble.
Wow. I want to ask everybody a question. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done that. I'm talking to Jullien Gordon, author of the book, The Undergrad Railroad, and we're talking about whether or not college is worth it. You just heard him make a compelling argument regarding why college is starting to be questioned. And there is a study actually out there, Jullien, that you may have seen this, that basically says that I think they predicted that half of all private universities would go out of business within a decade, because people are going to wise up to the fact that, you know, education shouldn't cost you $40,000 a year or $50,000 a year, all this crazy stuff they're charging. And let me ask you guys this. Give me a yes or no. Everybody answer this question. No, nobody sit on the sidelines. I want to ask you this. If you are a college graduate or if you know other college graduates, let me ask you this, yes or no. If you went to the people that you know, think about a college graduate in your head. It might just be you. It might be a friend of yours. But I want you to imagine that person in your head right now. And I want to ask you this question. On the day of their graduation, if you'd gone up to that person and said that you would like for them to lecture for 1 hour on the topic that they studied in college, do you think they could have done so successfully? Do you that they, you know, right off the dome could lecture on that topic, just talk about it freely, share ideas, teach other people, you know, the basics of that topic? Do you think they could have lectured on that topic for 1 hour in front of a group of people? Now I'm seeing a whole lot of no's. Derek says he still can't. Right? Answer. Come on, everybody. Tamika, Lorenda, what do you think? May says no. April, let's see. April says, April says, wow, interesting. Okay. Sandy says nope. And some still can't. Danetta says no. Sinclair, no. Rosali, no. I see. Okay. Sinye says yes. Ms. Barra says yes. Okay. There's one yes in here. Kenneth says yes. Okay. Brett says yes. So there are some people that did go to college and learn something. And that's not, you know, that's not a surprise, right? I mean, in the sense that there are students that do go to college and learn. And one thing I can say, Jullien, you know, in my experience, you know, both as a student and teaching college students, is one thing I figured out that was pretty clear was that, you know, just being there does not guarantee you're going to learn anything, but it's an opportunity to learn. If you have that extra initiative. You know, it's almost like when a guy goes to a university and he joins the basketball team, or he's a basketball recruit at, say, the University of Kentucky, where I went to undergrad. You know, if you went to University of Kentucky and you were on the basketball team, you could literally get through there for 4 years and not know how to read, like or be very close to like have the literacy rate of level maybe a 9-year-old
and make it to the Final Four.
Right. As long as you're going to the Final Four and you're winning championships. Back then, at least, anyway, I don't know if it's still true. I hope it's not still true.
Right.
But nobody's going to check you. You know, Antoine Walker was up in there, and a lot of us were like, I don't think he can read. Like you know, a lot of us kind of were whispering amongst ourselves about this back in the day, you know. But there's a protection, right? But that does not mean that as an athlete you can't get educated. It just means that if you're gonna get educated, you gotta really want it. You know,
Right.
like they're not gonna make you want it. They're not gonna push it on you. You gotta really want it. So it's almost like college in general is a little bit like that. You know,
Yeah.
I remember feeling that not only, you know, when I was teaching in Syracuse, I remember thinking, number one, the price is way too high. I would never pay this much to go to college because I know what they're getting. I'm one of the
Right.
people delivering this, right? And I'm thinking there's more less expensive ways to get this. But then two, I remember, you know, noticing how, you know, we had to lower our standards consistently, you know, for the students. Like we really could not push them the way we wanted to. Like you really want the students to really get high level training because you're a scholar. You want them to have the best of the best. But then, you know, you know, when you do that, you start getting pushback. You know, the little whiny students start complaining. The administration doesn't support you, so you just lower the standard. You say, you know, and basically you just say, fuck it. You know, okay, fine. I'll teach you like your third graders, and that's it. But really, I've actually, when I tried to let the secret out, when I wrote my first book on college, which is Everything You Ever Want to Know About College, I wanted to let Black folks know, like, college is not like you put it on this level of sort of give it all this mystique, like it's so difficult and so hard to do. And I'm like, it's not that hard. You can take an average 16-year-old, you know, and put that kid in my class, and if they just did what I told them to do, they would get at least a B in the class. And that kind of, I think, speaks to the fact that the standards are not as rigorous as they should be. And now here's what I've also seen, and maybe you can speak to this. I've seen where if you go to, say, an MBA program and you bring in, say, a student who's got experience in that field, or they have a reason, an application for the knowledge in their head, they learn more and they're better at what they do because it's like their piece, the puzzle pieces fit better together than they do when they're just learning from a textbook. So it almost speaks to what you're saying, that it seems like you're a big fan of self-education, because when you're self-educating, not only does it cost less, but you're more enthusiastic about it. It's exactly what you need to know. You know exactly how you're going to use it to make money or achieve a specific goal. And so it tends to work better that way. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you definitely have to know your why. Like going to college because you're supposed to, or because it was the next thing to do, that's not going to be a compelling why to keep you there and get you through that particular situation. So if you know your why, you quickly realize that the 12 to 16 units that you have to take, the 12 to 16 hours a week that you're in class, you will quickly realize that that is not going to help you actually fulfill your why. And you have all of this. College is still it's actually borderline right now. But if you look at college not as an institution of education or higher learning, but you see it as 4 years of space and time. There's no other time in your life where somebody's going to give you $100,000, a 17-year-old with no collateral, $100,000. Right? They won't give it to you for a business. They won't give it to you to buy real estate. But for some reason, they're giving financially illiterate 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds $100,000. There's no other space in your life where you're going to be able to buy 4 years of time to self-educate. So where you self-educate is that time in between your classes. Now, most people call that time in between classes free time. Oh yeah, I only got 12 hours of class. I only got 16 hours of class per week. And when a professor misses class, what happens? People get happy. They get excited. Oh, my professor missed class today. We out here chilling. But nobody actually makes a beeline to the financial aid office and say, my professor missed class. You actually owe me some money, right? It's really, really twisted. And so in that free time, you actually, I don't call it free time. It is your freedom time. That is the time that you actually build your path to freedom. That's the time that you develop your personal capital, right? Which is how well you know yourself. That's the time you develop your intellectual capital, which is a real hardcore skill or subject mastery. That's the time that you develop your social capital, which is your networks, who you know and who knows you. That's the time you develop your financial capital and your understanding of money, right? So this is how you maximize that space and time. It's not going to be the classes, because at the end of the day, you're going to have a 10-cent piece of paper. You're going to have a 10-cent piece of paper with some gold trim. I have 3 of them, and I have no clue where they are. They're in my dad's attic somewhere. Those pieces of paper don't open up any doors for me. It's what I did during my time getting them that actually determines the value of them. Because look, a lot of people get that 10-cent piece of paper, and then they go put it in some mahogany frame, right, that they spend $120 for at the bookstore. But if you go to a pawn shop and you give the pawn shop the mahogany frame and the 10-cent piece of paper, which one are they going to give you more money for? They're going to give you more money for the mahogany frame than they do the 10-cent piece of paper, which I can go to Kinko's right now and replicate for you if that's how bad you want a college degree. I'll happily sell you a 10-cent piece of paper for $100,000 any day. It is one of the greatest hustles of all time. And the hustle is also in cahoots with the government. I'll explain the financial side in a second.
Well, I'll say this. And by the way, I'm talking to Jullien Gordon. We're asking whether or not college is a good investment for our people. Jullien is the author of the book, The Undergrad Railroad. He's a graduate of both UCLA and why is the other?
Stanford.
I need a second. I'm running on a brain delay, but Stanford and UCLA. So he's a real smart brother, and he's actually helping us to question and try to really understand how college should or can fit into our lives and where it should not fit. And everybody who's watching, please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit that thumbs up button. Please hit the share button. You're in the home of intelligent Black people at drvoicetv.com. If you want to support the platform, you want to support intelligent Black media, you can go to blackfinancialintelligence.com. That's blackfinancialintelligence.com. That's where you can find books and flashcards and all kinds of learning tools for your family. So let me bring this up, man. When you were talking about the value of the piece of paper, I was literally taking notes as you were talking. First thing you mentioned that really got my attention, and I'll talk about this, then I'll stop so you can respond to this. You talked about this idea that, when an 18-year-old kid goes off to college, somehow miraculously somebody's willing to give him, $100,000, $200,000 loan, no collateral, no nothing, ain't got no credit. He can't, a lot of times he may not be able to go get a loan for a house or, and maybe even not even a car, right? Mm-hmm. But for some reason, when it comes to college, it's like, oh, borrow all you need, right? Yeah. And I find that utterly fascinating. And simultaneously, as we have this conversation in our community about reparations, one question that's been asked, and I've been one of the people asking this question, is, why is it that a young Black kid can go borrow $250,000 to go get a college degree, but can't borrow $30,000 to go start a business? They won't give them the business loan, but they'll let you borrow money for this inflated educational product. And it reminds me of once there was this, I had a friend that was selling, it was one of those network marketing things. No, this is no diss toward network marketing one way or the other. His particular situation was a little bit weird to me. Right? But this is, so if you're in network marketing, and we're not dissing, I want to bring up this particular story because it has a point. He was trying to sell me something, and I was looking through the book, and everything in the book was super overpriced. Like whatever, if it was supposed to cost $50, they charged $150. It was supposed to cost $100, they were charging $300. And what I noticed though was that they were like, well, if the cost bothers you, don't worry, we have a payment plan. Mm-hmm. We'll loan you the money to buy whatever you want, right? And mm-hmm. people were buying from them not because they liked the price, for the product. They knew the stuff was overpriced, but they were buying from them because they made it very easy to get a loan, to borrow from the company, right? So in effect, you're getting this product that's worth $100. You just borrowed $300, so you're overpaying, but because it's in the future, you're not so worried about the difference between what you're paying and what it's worth. So I see college is kind of the same thing. We see student loan availability as a good thing, but the reason it's not a good thing is because anybody who understands economics will tell you that when you make debt too easily available, what it's doing is it's inflating the price of the asset. Yeah. It's like if we're all bidding on the same house and we've only got so much cash and the value of the house is 150 and we all bid around 150 or whatever, but then suddenly somebody says, well, I'll loan you all the money that you want. You can just sign on the dotted line and you can borrow whatever you want. Well, then suddenly people will start bidding, 200, 250, mm-hmm. 300, et cetera. And because college is what is called, college is what's referred to as an inelastic commodity. An inelastic commodity is a commodity that people feel like they have to have. It's like cigarettes, like people have to have cigarettes. So it doesn't matter if there's a recession, cigarette sales don't go down. If people are broke, they'll spend their last dollar on some cigarettes because they're addicted to them, right? So college, in a way, we're sort of addicted to college in the sense of feeling that we need this to have a secure future. So because it's an inelastic commodity where we're addicted to it, we really feel like we need it. They just know that they can keep pushing the price up and we'll keep paying that price, right? Yeah. So can you kind of speak to some of that as well as that whole reparations conversation in terms of, how we really need to, as a community, view, the use of college debt, the cost of tuition, et cetera, in the context of Black wealth depletion?
Yeah. So A couple things. So one, the college bubble is being facilitated by collusion between the institutions of higher education and the government. A lot of people get mad at their student loan company like Nelnet or whatnot, because that's who they have to deal with all the time. But the student loan companies are just trying to recoup the money. They're not the issue. Right? The student loan companies are not the issue. So, and when you go to college, three things are going to happen. Either you're going to get a return on your investment, which is what you want anytime you make a financial investment. You're going to return to graduate school. A lot of people go and return to graduate school only to hide from the real world. But while they were hiding from the real world, they're incurring more debt, or you're going to return home. And so these are your three options. Now, what do I mean by this is collusion between the government and the institutions of higher education? Who issues the loans and who backs the loans? It's the U.S. Department of Education. Right? So the U.S. Department of Education has issued $1.56 trillion in student loans. Okay. There's also a private sector as well. Now, those loans are out at 5.05% currently on the direct subsidized and unsubsidized loan. If you multiply 5.05% times $1.56 trillion, the U.S. Department of Education is making $89 billion in revenue on student loan interest every single year. Doc, that would make them the 34th company on the Fortune 500 list. That would make them the 34th company on the Fortune, forget 500, the Fortune 50 list, right? In between like IBM and like Home Depot or something like that. So this is the government making revenue. It's about 2% of the government's revenue comes from this interest alone. So the government is like, we'll give you as much money as you can possibly get us, just in keep increasing enrollment. I don't care about your graduation rates, just keep increasing enrollment and we'll be good. Now, the only thing that threw up red flags for the government was when these for-profit institutions came in and they had high default rates, meaning that people weren't paying the student loans back, even though they're one of the only loans that you cannot file bankruptcy for. So this is collusion between the government and the institutions of higher education. Now, let me just break down the math for you, because a lot of people look at the price of college and they look at the sticker price, but the sticker price is not the true price. So let's just say you're borrowing $30,000 a year for tuition, room and board. Okay, you expect that to be a $120,000 student loan. But the truth of the matter is that all of that might not be subsidized. Some of it may be unsubsidized. So while some of it's unsubsidized, it is actually accruing interest while you're in school, meaning the moment it gets dispersed, it's accruing interest. So by the time you graduate, if half your loans were unsubsidized, you now actually have to pay back $129,000, not $120,000. So that's first. Now, on that $129,000, most people expect to pay that back over a course of 10 years. Their monthly payments would be about $1,370 a month, and they would pay $36,000 in interest. So now college, what you thought was going to cost you $120, when you add in the interest, is now costing you $166,000 in real cash that is coming out your pocket. But Doc, you're an economist. You know the concept of opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is what you could have been doing had you not been in college. And if you were a mechanic, you could have been earning $40,000 a year during that time. So if you add in the opportunity cost of being a mechanic for 4 years, that's another 160. So the true cost of a young person going to college is not 120, it is not 129, it is not 166. It is actually about $334,000 for you to go to college if you really do the math and you take into account the opportunity cost. So do not get enticed by the sticker price. And this number is going to continue to go up. I've never seen a college offer discounts in the form of scholarship. Hey, when's the last time you've seen a college say, buy 2 for 1 credit? It's not happening. So they're going to keep on trying to increase the price as long as they possibly can until the consumer says, you know what, this is not worth it. I, in fact, actually believe that community college is going to be the new route. It's going to be the new best route, where people are going to bypass the 2 years of general education at these quote unquote 4-year institutions. They're going to go to community college and they're going to transfer to get the degree from the more prestigious university. I think that's going to be the path. It's going to be cheaper. You're going to have the same exact degree, and you can hide the community college if you want to. But I think you doing the community college shows that you have grit if you're trying to get a job.
Interesting. Everybody, I'm talking to Jullien Gordon, a graduate of Stanford and UCLA, and he just wrote a new book called The Undergrad Railroad. And we're talking about whether or not college is really worth it, or new models, thinking about how to get that education that we all know. We all agree that you need knowledge, right? We all agree that you need education. which isn't the same as knowledge, by the way. But what is debatable is whether or not the university is always the best route to get that knowledge. Clearly, if you want to go into something that requires a professional license, nursing or something like that, college is important. But
Right.
a lot of folks are coming out of school with these degrees in business management and ain't even got a business to manage. And so you guys know that one of the things that I've actually helped to try to express to you guys is that I think that the BEEP model, the Black Economic and Educational Excellence Package for your child, is a better route, because what that package does is it gives them the option to go to college, but it endows them. You need an endowment. An endowment is basically a platform on which to practice whatever skill that you claim to have picked up while you're in school. Right? For example, you have a lot of people that have business management degrees, but don't have a business to manage. Well, if you take a different route and you start endowing your child young, like this is what we're doing with my niece right now, they'll have the business and the business management skill. So they'll actually have someplace to go. And I want to ask you guys this question as you hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done this. Jullien just said that the real cost of college, when you add in the opportunity cost, when you add in the cost of loans plus the interest, everything else, is about $330,000. So you paid $330,000 for a job. You bought a job. Now, I want to ask you this: if I made this offer,
I got to stop you real quick. They didn't buy a job. You want to know why? It's because for young black students, here's the 56% of Black grads are underemployed. Underemployed means that you got a job, but it's a job that didn't require the college degree in the first place.
Wow. Okay, then. So let's change the deal.
No, I didn't mean to stop you like that.
No. I want to ask you guys this question, and we will offer financing for those who can't afford the money right now. I'm gonna make a deal with you. For $340,000 or whatever the number, $335,000. If you pay us $335,000, we will give you a 44% chance at having a job that pays $50,000 a year, working for white people, by the way. No disrespect. If you're white, I ain't trying to hurt your feelings, but y'all know what it's like. Y'all know the workplace stress that Black folks go through. If you're Black and you either have a job you hate or raise your hand. But seriously, so that's what you do. We got to lay that out. Like, I really want people to meditate on this idea. You're paying $335,000 for a 44% chance to get a job that doesn't pay you much money, and you're serving massa for the next 40 years until you're too old to work anymore, and then you just die, right? So I want to ask you, does that sound like a good deal when you lay it out that way?
Who's taking that deal? Who's taking that deal? Yes, in chat.
Anybody taking the deal? Yes or no? I need a yes or no. Let me see. I'm looking at. I see.
Doc, I ain't heard it put like that before. I ain't heard it put like that before. I like that. Oh, and the true numbers is 46,800 for Black students, and it's 47,400 for Hispanic students. So
is that what average salary or what?
Average salary, and it's 52,000 for white students. So it's not even 50 for Black. It's 46,800.
Wow. Yeah, I think that when I see a lot of no's and hell no's coming in, I think some people about to cuss me out for ruining their day. I don't feel bad, but I think information is power, and I think knowledge and understanding matters. And so we're not saying, just so in case you guys don't know, it's just almost like the voting thing. When I was telling Black people to just think through who you vote for, a lot of people were running around saying, "Oh, well, Dr. Boyce is telling Black people not to vote," and I never said that. Never said it once. I said, do what works for you, right? And the same thing's true here. I don't think either one of us are saying don't go to college.
No.
That might make us hypocrites. I mean, I went to college, you went to college.
Yeah.
But I think that what's happened though is you and I, because we've sort of seen the new economy and seen where old opportunities have gone or then disappeared and new opportunities have emerged, we're kind of saying, just really be careful and thoughtful about how you proceed. Don't just take a cookie cutter approach, or they're gonna cut you like a cookie. So tell me more, man. What are your thoughts in response to what I just said?
And the way you just framed that, I think, is extremely powerful. You're spending $330,000 for a 44% chance at getting a job that you worked for Master for 40 years. I think that's just a very powerful framing and really puts it on the table. The challenge is for first generation students, for first generation college students, college is like this holy grail for those families, and so they're going into the process very uneducated about how colleges change. And they think that this brand name that they've heard because they saw this team in the Final Four or whatnot, or this school is local and they hear about it in the news all the time, that's going to open the gates for their child. And it's just really not true. And I think it's really the first generation students that suffer the most because they don't have anybody, they don't have an older sibling, they don't have a parent who actually went through it and can be like, you know what, you got to go, but just going to class isn't going to cut it. That's not what actually is going to make this degree valuable for you. And so we're in a very tight situation because the only other thing that's financing you during the ages of 18 to 22 is military. And now you're going to go risk your life for a country that doesn't even appreciate you. So our 18 to 22 year olds are in a very precarious situations where it's like college or military, because nobody's financing my business ideas, right? So it's a catch-22. I just think that there's a cheaper way to go about it. I think community college is the route. You got to go in. College is still worth it, but it's not because your major may not matter, right? You got to master yourself during that time, right? And it's not a guarantee of a job. It's an investment in your future. And when you see it as such, you can't spend your time playing Fortnite in college. Like that's not going to get you a return on your investment. You can't spend your time just hanging out on Bruin Walk and just kicking it. You can't spend your time on spring break trips trying to get. I mean, yeah, I want you to have a little bit of fun. I'm not trying to suck the fun out of college, but if you go party hard in college during that 4 years, then the next 40 years of your life is going to be really hard. But if you get really focused during that 4 years of college, then the next 40 years of your life can be really, really easy. It can be really, really purposeful, profitable, and doing work that you're passionate about. So it's just about the sequence. When do you want the hard part? You want the hard part now, right? And have it easier later? Or do you want to have it easy now during this 4-year vacation and have it really hard later? The choice is yours.
Well, I think that says a lot. I'm looking at some of the comments, and I see one of you says, let's see, Chantrez says he wants to learn the stock market and quit his job. Well, we do have a great stock market program. If you do want to learn how to invest in the stock market, you can go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com, THE, theblackstockmarketprogram.com. Feel free to go there, and the first month is free. You can try it out, and we don't charge thousands of dollars. We charge $3 a day. Which isn't even enough to buy a Happy Meal at McDonald's, but we have college professors just like at universities, except our stuff is actually better because we design and tailor everything we do for Black people. And Jullien is actually one of our instructors in the Black Business School as well. And so we have really smart people teaching you. So feel free to try that out. Also, I want to mention Jullien's book. The book is called The Undergrad Railroad, Railroad. And I want to make sure it's 100% clear. I know some of you have reiterated that you understand where we're coming from, but I want to make it 100% clear. We're not sitting here saying don't go to college. We're not saying that if your child's in college, you're a big dummy. We're not saying that at all. I think that we're saying that, look, if you're going to do it, just know you're dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars in your family wealth. You're taking money out of the vault, out of your family wealth, and putting it in a bucket, and you're taking it to someone else. And it's okay to do that. But you better make sure it's an investment that's going to give you back more than what you're giving away. Because what's happening is Black wealth is being depleted. Like, people can't understand, Jullien, you can speak to this. They don't understand why Black wealth keeps dropping and why by 2053 median Black wealth is supposed to go to zero. I know exactly what is happening. College is the number one factor. You're borrowing $250,000 or sometimes as much as $250,000, or maybe it's 100,000 or maybe it's 70,000. And think about this. The people that are borrowing $70,000 to get this degree are people who they'll never have $70,000 in liquid cash in their life. Most people won't, but a lot of people can't even come up with $2,000 in the event of an emergency, right? Yeah. So you're literally robbing the poor or working class people, and that money's going right into the hands of the elite. That's why these universities are building these massive football and basketball stadiums, which are, by the way, financed by the work of labor of black athletes, free labor. People are literally extracting wealth from your community because we're playing the game at a level that's not going to lead to success. So, Jullien, I'll let you get the last word, man. Tell us more about your book, and I know you have a special offer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and shut it down for us, man.
Yeah, I mean, so how is it that 76% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, but 34% of Americans actually have a bachelor's degree? That makes no sense whatsoever. If college was really designed to free you, then those numbers would change for all of Americans. And we're just talking about black people, but this is also true for white people. This is not a black or white thing. This is all about green between the colleges and the universities. And we just happen to be getting the short end of the stick. And so I remember when I started out, I was all about helping students get into college. That was actually my work at a nonprofit after I finished at UCLA. I was helping students get into college. And now I'm really about helping them escape college, right? Not saying drop out. I'm talking about escape. And the escape framework in the book is ESSCAPE, which is one, evaluate what you just got yourself into. You got yourself into a mess, right? And if you're not careful, that could actually drown you and defer your dreams, like Langston Hughes talks about in his poem. That could defer your dreams for decades, right? Then from there, you have to strategize on how you're going to get out of this mess that you just got into by taking on these student loans and going into this institution of higher education. From there, you have to identify, you have to capitalize and identify all the capital on campus, the personal capital, the intellectual capital, the social capital, and the financial capital that you can acquire during that 4 years of time. From there, acquire. Then from there, you have to prioritize your time, and then you have to execute. That's what's laid out in this book. If I was to go to college again, when my daughter, she's 4 years old right now, I don't know if she's going to go to college. If she does, she's going to go to a community college, get in the honors program, and then jump over to a college of her choice. But this is the blueprint. And so if you are looking for a graduation gift this season, if you're going to any high school graduation, get 10 copies of this at the undergradrailroad.com and give them out to any young black person that you see at that graduation. And if you have a cousin, a son, the daughter, a niece, nephew in college, get this book for them. Right now, we're doing a Kickstarter campaign. I'm trying to give away 3,000 copies of this book to students before they get into this situation, and would love your contribution. Again, go to theundergradrailroad.com. When you buy a book, right, for someone you care about, I will actually give a book to one of 3,000 students who is waiting for it in 22 partnering organizations that we have. So I would love your support. Again, the URL is theundergradrailroad.com. And I would love to get this in the hands of them. It's going to change. Literally, this book is going to save whoever you give it to, is going to save them tens of thousands of dollars in interest and in their future. So that's it. That's it, Chief.
All right. I love it. Theundergradrailroad.com, undergradrailroad.com.
Yeah, somebody type that in.
Yes. And I love that. That's a great title, man. I think that's excellent. And I highly recommend. I think that, you guys, the reason I'm glad Jullien's here is because I think he's got a lot of things figured out, that could really benefit the young people in your life, especially the men, but also the young ladies as well. I mean, he did, and he's done all the formal stuff. He and my brother Lawrence worked together a lot, and Lawrence went to Cornell. Jullien did Stanford and UCLA. And so they've seen, the upper echelons of what the education can provide. But what's happened is that the game has shifted, and we don't want Black people to figure it out after the fact, right? And in fact, the fact that you're even here, the fact that you're in this league of intelligent Black people probably means that you're in the talented 10th in terms of ambition, in terms of vision, in terms of intellect, in terms of skill. And I believe that your families are going to figure out things that other families won't. Remember, when I do a live stream, I have a few hundred people watching. But if I was the rapper 2 Chainz doing a live stream talking about the woman I had sex with last night, I'd probably have 10,000 Black people on there, yelling at me in broken English and whatever, right? Because that's what people do now. A lot of our people, unfortunately, are lost. They're stuck. They're not going to move forward. They're going to get screwed big time. And I hate it. I hate saying it like that. But a large percentage of our people are going to hell in a handbasket economically. And unfortunately, what's also true is all they've been taught to do is whine about it. All they've been taught to do is complain. And I love everybody. I want to see our community win, but I can't make everybody get this. You know, so what I'm doing is I'm talking to the mobilizers. I'm talking to people that want something different for your family, that want to build something, those who believe in yourself, those who believe in the people around you, those who believe in getting off the beaten path, and to tell you that there are solutions, but you got to look for them. You got to look for the solutions. So I think Jullien is one of those guys you may want to take a look at, because he's got solutions. And as you know, we have solutions in the Black Business School as well. So we're here to help you to get everything you need. So thank you, Jullien. I appreciate
you. Chief. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, before we go, please hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't done that, please hit the thumbs up button. Please share the video.
With a college student or high school senior, please share this with them.
Yes, absolutely. Especially if you have a young person in your family. If you got a young person in your family, get them off the grid. Don't get them going down that straight, the economic death march that millions of our people are going down. You know, because they don't, because you know, why would anybody want to listen to someone like me, right? I'm just some crazy guy who white people don't like me. They don't validate me. So obviously that means I'm worthless, right? And so, but you know, I think of the Marcus Garvey tradition. I love Marcus Garvey because white people didn't like him, because that must have been doing something right? So what you're getting here is a Marcus Garvey-like tradition that says we can build our own. So please share this video, share these ideas with the people in your family. Hit the thumbs up button before you go. Please hit the thumbs up button. Also, if you want to support Intelligent Black Media, please go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Last but not least, one more time, the URL for Jullien and his book is theundergradrailroad.com. undergradrailroad.com. All right, guys, take care, and thanks again, Jullien, and I'll see you guys soon. All right,
take care. Peace.